So, as you saw, I was basically trimming those spot welds back down, I think, where I left off, those corner caps for my firewall, which I'll show you here in a second. I have made some progress though, so I finished knocking the welds, or spot welds down, and it's, for the most part, good to go. I did put the hinges on, so I actually have a hood on the truck right this second, but there's the finished product for the most part. I might have to go in and do some more touching up with sanding and stuff like that, but I'm mostly just trying to get the structure mocked up. Got the fenders on, obviously. We are, my editor is actually doing an amazing job on trimming out the inner fender wells for all of the obstacles, like the shock, coil bucket adjuster, so on and so forth. And then here's the front of the shock hoop. So these are turning out really rad. We just did a cardboard design, and the fact that it's at an angle was a huge brain teaser, because we hung the fenders to get a permanent measuring point in, and then of course it's on like a 40 degree angle and so on and so forth. But he's doing that. I'm going to let him do his thing, but he's so far executing very well. They're just rough cuts right now, but they'll get trimmed, and these will all get powder coated. So the hood hinges are on. As you can see, it's the old hood. It's got a banger right there, but that's really the only damage to the hood, so I think we can get that out. The one that came with this donor truck, the 65, the structure band right here had popped off and became separated from the hood. So I'm still not sure which hood I'm going to commit to. I really don't want to run an open hood anymore, so I'm going to change my air filter setup to a UMP, like Donaldson style. So I really don't need the open element. As cool as it is, it's just not very functional when you get into, drive it in the rain and mud, and I can wear an outer skin on the engine, but I still worry about it ingesting water. So anyway, I can always just buy another hood if this one doesn't work out. But the reason I mounted this hood is not just for mock-up purposes, but the urgency of mounting the hood was, as you can see, the cowl still cut. I haven't messed with that yet, and it had a big old whammo on the top of the cowl, and it looks a lot better than it did. But this is why we mounted the hood, because we have to get a reference as to where the hood sits versus where the cowl is. And the hood still needs some slight adjustment, and honestly I think this could go down a little bit, but you can see right there that the cowl is a good 3/4 of an inch, I'd say, too low. So I might have to take more out of the cowl and raise it up, and but yeah, that's why we mounted the hood. So I'm gonna get to that at some point, but I do want to hang the doors and start getting them fitted. And where I'm at with that is, notice these guys, some of these are loose. Yeah, you can see that right there. And it's kind of the same story as the hood mount corners. The reason why I took those off is because the hood mounted pads had ripped these out. I think Navy boys were probably coming home from the bar and hit a deer or something and pushed the hood in and ripped out, I think it was 2 on each side, maybe 3 on one side of the hood mount. So I had to take those off. And anyway, so the point of my rambling is to address this. And so I've cleaned it. Obviously you can see I cleaned it with the wire wheel. A lightweight or a fine wire wheel on a drill motor seems to work the best. You don't get the pokers in the face because it's not as fast of an RPM, and it works just as good. I've always used the wire wheels on a die grinder, air powered, and for one, I hate air tools. I hate using them now because I'm just spoiled with the electric stuff. But that's where it ends with me as far as electric stuff goes, but it's just so convenient. So I decided to TIG weld these, because it's less metal, that I could do a fusion weld, and I can show you that I did just do a fusion weld on this guy. And this bolt had to be, the reason the bolt is in there was to tell me how square this insert is, and it was like hanging down like that. So I put a bolt in there just to give me an idea of where it needed to go, and I think that's pretty darn good. Now this is a 65 F100, it's not a Maserati, so it does not have to be exactly perfect because there's plenty of adjustment up and down and in and out, but I did want to get it straight. So yeah, so I've got a little 3 fusion welds here. I can actually take the bolt out now hopefully. Pull my ground wire out of the way. Put this stupid ratchet. Come on, man. Why can't this work? It's like hardly used ratchet. I didn't just buy it. I've had this one for a while, but God, it's annoying. Hold on, let me get another ratchet. So just knocking out the honey or list of honeydews on this truck. It's going pretty good so far. Probably gonna start putting that bed together in the next few days. It'll seem like a few minutes to you, I'm sure. That's how it works in movie land. So just gonna see how this goes and add filler rod as I need to. Got 16-inch steel rod here, nothing special. But I am more of a benchtop TIG welder. My experience is mostly benchtop and doing parts and stuff. But I need to get better in the field, so I'm choosing to TIG weld these guys because TIG welding takes twice the amount of time, and it should be twice the hourly rate if you were to pay for someone to TIG weld everything for you. And just the reason is because it takes twice the amount of prep to do something with TIG. And I believe the tensile strength is proven. It's almost double of what MIG is, from what I know. And it just takes forever. It just takes a long time, and if you want something real strong, then TIG weld it. But it's also more brittle, so it's kind of a, you know, choose your poison. The downside of TIG with dirty old trucks is, well, they're dirty old trucks, and I can't clean behind this fastener here, so it's really just, you get what you get. And so you saw that little spatter. That's from basically contamination between this fastener and the metal I cleaned off. So it's all right. It's still a lot cleaner than MIG welding as far as spatter goes. Yeah, it just takes longer, that's all. I'll hit that with the band file and smooth it out once I'm done with all of them. But yeah, that's about what we're doing. Just do 3 little fusion tacks. Let whatever that is burn off. And I do have a fan going in the background, so it evacuates the smoke. But the trick is you don't want to have too much air going, because it'll waft away your shielding gas. But my fan's coming, like, going that way, and I'm obviously here, so it's not interrupting my shielding gas. You would know. This wouldn't be blue, it would be char. But yeah, so now that the fastener won't move when I start putting more heat to it and actually welding the entire fastener into the sheet metal. Well, there's many different upsides to TIG welding, but one of my favorites is, if you don't like the way your weld bead looks, you can go over it again without adding more filler wire or wire speed or whatever. So you can actually go over it and knock it down more, minimize your grinding. You're really not supposed to grind after you TIG weld anyway, but hacks like me have to sometimes. It's really just circumstantial. In this case, I want a flat, because there's some indentions here, and so I have to be below those indentions. So I'm not not a very good TIG welder, or I'm super rusty. I used to be alright, and then I didn't do it for a while, and rust occurs. Alright, so that's the passenger side done. Still haven't knocked it down, but I'll do that after it's cooled off. I'll go over to the driver's side now. Sorry, I forgot to push play or record, but yeah, burn this one in here. Did forget a little tiny spot. Yeah, the only way I'm going to get better is to keep doing this consistently. And now that I have a machine that does pretty much everything, I can do it a lot more. Like, I had a DC, or it was an ESAB Rebel. It was only a DC TIG machine, so I couldn't weld aluminum with TIG. And you had to buy a spool gun if you wanted to MIG weld aluminum, and I don't do production stuff like that you would need to do that. So I ponied up a couple years ago and bought that Miller ACDC 220, which is a whole lot more welder than I am welder, and super happy with it. It was a lot of money though. I bought cars for a lot less money than I bought for that welder, so it's I guess you gotta pay to play. Some trash again on my tungsten. That's kind of the bummer of taking alumina or a old steel like this. Just trash kind of pops onto the tungsten. I'm not dipping it, of course. Super easy to dip. Just takes practice. Just like anything else, it requires a skill. And I'm running my tungsten out further than I normally do because it's a kind of an indented hole. So I'm probably running it about a quarter inch further out than I normally do. I like to keep it up in there because the arc will jump a pretty significant gap, bigger than you'd think. Make sure you guys can see. Not that you care, but I guess you do care. If you're watching this, I guess you do care. You notice that I have my post flow on, I think it's 5 seconds. And the reason for that is when you're done, when you turn the arc off, you're supposed to actually keep your cup over the top of the molten where we're just welding. And the post flow allows it to cool while it's shielded by the gas, hence the name shielding gas. So that's kind of why you saw me kind of doing that. I mean, this is a fusion weld, so it's not as critical, but I was more blowing the death smoke out so I didn't have to stand here and inhale it as much. But once you get it hot in 3 different areas, it usually burns enough off to where you're not dying, hopefully. Alright, we'll get this stuff ground down and then hang some doors. Alright, last installment for today. Hinges are in. This one does need some pin bushings. This was original to this truck. These are from the 66, the one I rolled. which matches the chassis. I did find one downer, and I didn't have to knock these welds down as much as I thought I would, because they basically they bridge over the top of the sheet metal here, and then you have other bolts inside there. There's two there, and then obviously these two. But what I did find, which really sucks, but it's part of it, got these guys, obviously the orange truck hinges. See those two in there? Nope, there is no backing plate or thread plate in there. So I gotta fabricate one. I don't know, I put a magnet down in here just to fish. I fished a few bolts out of there, but I didn't feel the plate down in there. So I do have a hole to open in here, so that'll be next. I haven't finished the little patches on the sides. So yeah, gotta make that, which isn't a big deal. But it makes sense because the other one I did have to weld or put it back on that lower side over there. So just all those leaves and debris packed up in here over the years, going through those holes right there. Add a little moisture and you got yourself a little rust cocktail. So not the good kind either. So anyway, that's it for today.